things Guan Yu does well.
Venimos a
His
la
ultimate
partida
is
de
such a good team fighting ability.
Yeah, I mean,
de rojo
I don't know, man. That heal is so good.
It is
I think I'm still listing that at number one, but
azul.
I'm going right after that. I'm going Prot Shred is the second best thing that he brings to a team fight or brings to a team, and then the all excellent opportunities. Don't get me wrong. You can give me any one of those, and I'm like, yeah, that's a character I want at certain times. Give me all three, and I want Guan Yu just about every game.
El support de
Tank is moving
Dignitas
forward, playing a little bit
con el
aggressive. Had to pay
support
some
de
help for this minion advantage that they have, but they're going to head right over to
se van a
stripping away
robar
this
el,
purple buff.
el lila
Half Devil does
del
wanna
SK
be here, not
Gaming,
give this
pero
one
llega a
up for
Cerbero
free,
y
the ghastly
para que lo
red. And
cancelen.
that does force Dignitas off of it, so the actual big camp, the buff itself is still chilling there as Mixer chat heavily in Dignitas' favor.
This is a risk from Dignitas' duo lane, though. Trix and Arco are giving up wave pressure here to stop the enemy from doing their purple buff for free.
They are going to pop the sprint, though. They want to go all in on this. Shell comes out in response from SK Gaming to keep them standing. Still, though, the purple buff stands, so they're not going to be able to strip it away, but now they can head towards the jungle. Meanwhile, a gank from Fails in the mid lane. Zeros, though, is on the Giannis, goes right through the wall, and is able to come clear those mid harpies. Got to be careful, though. Fails is waiting for them.
Fails doesn't have that special delivery, though, and that's where his kill potential really comes from in the early game. Cubo has a speed buff of his own, so it means that Fails won't be able to catch him, despite being the fastest god on the battlefield at any given time. This early game is just kind of SK holding on, it feels like. Their early game is not particularly strong in any lane. The duo lane is their best opportunity to play aggressive, and Sobek punishes aggressive duo lanes very, very well, because neither Funball nor Half Devil can stand near the tower line with Trix Tank on this Sobek overall. So other than the duo lane, I expect SK to kind of be on the back foot in most of these lanes, and if they could hold on to the mid game, the team fighting stage, you heard Ducky say it in the interview with him, that they feel really confident once you start to group up. But until then, they can have tough times.
Well, it does have the special delivery available for Variety. Is going to be using that Talu Assault and
Uy,
the
sacó
slow
el punto de
very much
morir
indeed.
Aquiles,
Variety
pero se
only
logra
needs to
escapar.
create a little bit of space, though, because Cubo Fred is on his way. And that ends up working out. Variety is going to be able to still stand tall here in that solo lane. Blue buffs will be spawning before too long if the junglers want to try and stick around for that, but speed buffs are up as well. So that's probably the most important thing on their minds right now. They want to grab those.
Of course it is. That's what any jungler ever thinks about, is when their speed buff is coming up. But Variety's going to put some good damage on it. Fails. Let Cubo clear the way for him, because Cubo going aggressive is dangerous. You don't want to necessarily do that with how much damage Ducky can do to you. Variety is not worried about that, though. Shout outs to Warrior's Blessing. So I like that decision to kind of switch roles there for a moment. Let Variety be the aggressor and the damage dealer on the enemy god, and just let Cubo Fred be the wave clearer.
I love what this extended 2v2 does, though. This means that Dignitas is free in Trix and Oracle to play up a little bit more in this duo lane. Sometimes you got to be careful, especially with like an Unbots on the other side, or not Unbots, but a Mercury, that you can come over if you're at their tower line and punish, but they know they can be aggressive. They can wait on this purple up to spawn. They just saw both junglers for a prolonged time in solo, and they got to go grab speed. They've got time to be aggressive here in duo.
I also love this Rom Giannis sort of combo as Sprint used once more by the duo lane, this time after a successful buff invade on the purple. I love Rom and Giannis on the same side, because let's say Fails does ult down the lane and catch Arkil in a weird spot. He can just press the ult, go up into the sky, and wait for the duration and allow Zeros to fire off through space and time and give him an easy escape route. And that is very, very difficult to stop on whatever SK will throw at Team Dignitas. As long as Arkil is even close to that right side wall of the lane, he has an easy escape route potential. So that's where I'd like to see him hang out, spend his time kind of hugging that right wall to give himself an easy out if and when Fails ganks.
I like Fails being here, though, because beads are down for Arkle. He must have been forced earlier on. Special delivery is going to push him right back into the first blood for Half Devil through space and time. A little bit too late for the cavalry to arrive.
Well, that's the idea, except Arkil was only level 4, so it didn't end up working out because he couldn't buy time with use of that ultimate. And the beads being down, absolutely huge. It means that Fails gets free reign on the CC chain. Wasn't sure if Trix was in range to pluck Fails off of Arkil in that situation. That's the only way that I think Arkil survives or even comes close to surviving.
Ducky is going to commit the ultimate here in the solo lane. Clear.
Con esa
Now the pressure's
ulti
kind
de
of on to
con
see if
Juno
Cubo Fred maybe can return the favor
como
over in the duo
poco
lane.
innecesaria.
Has his ultimate available. Does have that Fear No Evil. If he does want to go say hello to Half Devil and Funballer. As safe as you were mentioning that Arkle is on this ROM, I mean, so is Funballer on the mounted archery. I mean, he can get up and just ride away into the sunset. And he'll be CCing the whole time, and gets way down the lane, creates all that distance between them. So we'll see which one of these junglers can have the bigger impact. Fails already, though, finding a kill and getting off to a good start.
And that's where Mercury's a little bit better, because you can buy time, but Mercury doesn't, in the mid to late game, he's not going to let you have any time. It's just, Sonic Boom and a one-shot kill. I mean, even at this early stage, how much did that initial auto attack do to our kill? Like 280 or something like that. It was just a preposterous number. And I think that's what people kind of forget about Mercury, and one of the things that makes Mercury so strong is that passive, where based on the distance that you're traveling, you get extra damage on your next auto attack. As Ducky now caught a bad spot, man, that is perfect timing, but Cubo missed the monkey toss. He needed to land that to make sure he could teleport to Ducky's little dash. Love the play from Variety. Perfect timing between him and Cubo. Can you tell they played together for a while? But
oh, yeah.
Still doesn't end up netting Dignitas a kill.
I love that, though, from Dignitas. That's a call that requires everyone to play that perfectly for that kill to end up happening. And to Variety's credit here, he basically does land the Fatal Strike, not for the execute, but, you know, be able to close that gap and to be able to set him up for the stun so that Cubo can come in for the Fear No Evil. And like you said, if one piece of that chain falls apart, then Ducky survives. But I love the idea from Dig, that trust that they'll be able to hit all those abilities perfectly.
They did all the hard parts right. It was the easy part that got messed up there, right?
I think there might be something to things being a little bit too easy for these pros sometimes. I don't know what it is.
They overthink
I think sometimes things can be too easy for them.
Yeah, you overthink it, you second guess yourself. Like, there's no way this is that simple, right? But in that situation, I think it really was for Cubo. Maybe just a little bit too, just a fraction of a second too late on the monkey toss, and ends up dropping that kill. But everything before that was a work of art, to be sure.
And that's what we heard Ducky talking about in that interview that I had with him, where they want to try and get off to a better start early. And they're starting it. When Fails plays well, this whole SK roster looks so much different when they're able to work around him, and already off to a good start. With the assist, the kill credit did go to Half Devil, but he's even here with Cubo Fred. Cubo's first gank doesn't net a kill, and Ducky still is comfortable. This gives some freedom for Fails to try and have an impact and get them off to a good start for a change. Oh
man, the mid game for SK and late game is incredible. Between a Mercury, a Discordia, who's phenomenal in the mid to late stages, Cerberus as well brings excellent prot shred, good survivability for himself. Funball will do hunter stuff in the late game as a Hachiman. I think this is a great mid to late game grab for SK. And once they start to group as 5, then they'll really succeed just based on their picks. Now, Dignitas is a good team fighting composition in their own right, but they don't have the sustain that SK has.
Fails at least has that ultimate charged up. Trickstang goes with the blunt. Fear No Evil comes through, but through space and time makes 0 CC immune. He's able to drop the damage either way. Now it's Fails who's in trouble on a bit of an island. Trickstang, though, comes out of the water immediately into the damage. Half Devil now 2-0-0. Cubo Fred falls as well. Lobster happy to finish that job off, and Zero's has to fall back. Man, I love that idea from Dignitas, but SK just play a little bit better. I mean, they saw Fails charging the ultimate bottom right. So what Zeros does to follow up off Fear No Evil is actually channel his own ultimate to give himself CC immunity, and he just steps right through Fails with the Sonic Boom. That's dope, but that's still damage on the Lobster. That's still damage onto Cubo Fred and Trickstang. And that was just Fails understanding that, okay, they might know this is coming, but we think this engagement is so good that it's not going to matter that Dignitas know it's coming, and that's exactly what ends up happening. Dig is ready for it, but the call is just better from SK Gaming, and that's the sort of confidence that I think this team was really lacking during the spring split, and it's encouraging to see it now in the summer. But now SK have got to start making the transition as Team Dignitas comes down to try and look for the invade on the blue buff. Fails has to dash away defensively. They've gotten a couple fights that have gone their way. A pick that worked out, a pick from Dig that didn't, and now they won that skirmish in mid lane. But they got to start translating that into buff invades and to control over some of these neutral objectives like oracles or mid harpies. So far, the game is still very, very close, if not a little bit in Dig's favor.
This is where Dignitas' experience, though, comes into play, is exactly what you're saying. They can lose these little skirmishes and not really care that much about it because they're willing to fight from a little bit behind or right, basically even with you, and usually do a little bit better than their opposition. But this is where drafts really ultimately end up mattering. I think Dignitas' team fight is really, really solid, but they lack sustain that SK is going to have. If Dignitas can execute onto single targets in the midst of the chaos very, very well, that sustain from Guan Yu won't matter nearly as much. But for every additional 2 seconds that a fight goes, it's going to be that much more in SK's favor.
Yeah, Apple does land on Trickstang. That's all Half Devil needed to see. He goes in with the Stygian Torment. 3-0-1. Zeros has to use through space and time to retreat in the mid lane. Fails force that out, I believe, with the Sonic Boom. And Zero's had to retreat, had to use beads as well.
Yeah.
That's a big win for them in the mid lane.
It feels like SK has all the tempo, doesn't it? They're the ones just
not
dictating every single fight thus far in this game. They're the ones being the aggressors. And Dignitas is just kind of holding on for the moment. But this is where I talk about it a lot on the other end of the coin. Whereas a lot of times Dignitas will be the aggressor. Let's say, you know, on paper, the better team is being the aggressor. And then
¿Se fue el internet o qué? No. Uy, porque offline. Parece que hay algo. Ya venimos con la segunda parte de esta partida. Esperamos a ver que logren arreglar.